viewers, welcome back. And in this video, I shall try to give you a brief overview about a short story called The Intrusion. The Intrusion, it is a short story written by Sashi Despande, and this short story deals with a newly married woman whose sense of worth is dishonored by the appalling treatment by her newly married husband, whom she thinks as an intruder. Besides, Sashi Deshpande has also tried to emphasize the self-effacing role of female protagonists in the short stories under study in a scathing manner. Okay, it is a little introduction about the short story Intrusion. But before moving on, I would like to say a few things here, and that is this story, it actually deals with our own society. Okay, in our society, we often see that women's consent are never uh, taken when they are about to be married off. That is true, and that is the same thing we will see in this short story. The female protagonist, she has no name here, and even the male counterpart too, he too had no name throughout the short story. So her parents, due to societal pressure, family pressure, and economic condition, and many other factor, her family decided to arrange her a marriage. Okay, and when her marriage was arranged, at that time no consent was taken from her whether she would like to sit in the marriage or not. Okay, and that kind of thing you often see in our society, in our family, right? The same thing, it occurs in this story too, and that's why the title of the story is Intrusion. It is a symbol of how women's freedom, women's liberty are intruded by the patriarchal society. First by the family, then by the society, then by the husband if she is a wife or if she is a girl. Clear? Uh, Apart from that, through this short story, the writer has also tried to depict how women are treated as an object after the marriage. The husband thought, or the husband thinks, that after marriage, a woman or that girl or his that newly married wife is now his property. That's why he treats the way he wants. And most of the time, the wife, she is often treated as commodity, and often the source of sexual pleasure or physical intimacy. And her voice, or the wife's voice, or the women's voice, are often dominated, exploited, suppressed by the patriarchal power. That's it. Now let's move on. However, The Intrusion, it is a story written by a very renowned Indian writer, Sashi Deshpande. Sashi Deshpande works are often woman-centric narrative, and this is also a story about a newly married woman. And this woman is the protagonist of the story, and she tells her own story about the act of violation by her husband. The story, The Intrusion, it begins with the woman protagonist, and here the woman is unmarried, describing about their honeymoon place as the newly married couple move through fishing village. Then she is also aware of the physical surroundings as much as she is aware of her inner chaos and the unreasonable twinge of irritation against her husband. Then they walked out of the seaboard and were back in village, hiking up a steep rocky path and finally reached the top with the square stock building. So after the marriage, our female protagonist of this short story, she has been on a uh, journey for the honeymoon with her husband. Okay, The unease that the narrator is experiences continues to grow when they are finally boarded indoors, and in the room the man attending on them opened the window to let the wind in. The narrator, also aware of the man smirking and revealing an awareness of what they had come here for, and the gaze that the man was giving made her feel uneasy and embarrassed. So when our female protagonist, she went with her husband, newly married husband, at that time many people stare for a long time at them. So it made especially our female protagonist utterly awkward, utterly embarrassed. She feels that why she is being stared like that. Okay, and that is also a kind of intrusion into her privacy. Why people want to know. Then the man left the room in the hotel, having left alone in themselves to themselves. He felt a painful silence, as if they were strangers left to themselves. Then his stress on the words complete privacy in describing their honeymoon place made her feel extreme disgust at the thoughts of it. Her feelings of disgust and dislike is expressed in the lines which she states like this: "There was something furtive about the place." Furtive means secret, something deadpan about the servant's face, which made me feel that the man who came here did so with other women who would laugh and chat away with the man, not go through what I was enduring now. Fear tremors the way I averted my face from the beds. The narrator here talks about the societal rules and institutions in which a woman is trapped, and demonstrating the fact that female sexuality across classes is under male control. The sexual urges on the parts of her husband sickness the narrator protagonist and makes her want to avoid him, but to no gain. Then she was now looking back at her memories before she got married. After that, she thinks about the exchanging words between the two families and not asking the girl about her wishes and desires. Then, aftermath, she was being binding in a relationship in which there is no returning point. The memories of premarital bliss fade away, and she is once again reminded of the uneasy and awkwardness of being in the room with complete stranger, which is her husband. Then they spend hardly a moment trying to know each other. So here I would like to say one thing, and that is this story actually deals with numerous issues of our society, and some are considered as taboo. Okay, and those issues are not generally discussed in public life or publicly in our society. So through this work, the writer has tried to eradicate those kinds of perspective and opinions from our mind. Okay, she has touched many important, significant issues from marital rape, forced marriage, domestic violence, then women as a commodity, many more. Okay, the writer also has projected the image of a woman who is vulnerable with her fear and annoyed being with a man who has his own vulgarity, insensitivity, selfishness, and sexual urges. They had not been given time to know and understand each other's wishes. The inner feelings of the woman protagonist are revealed here when she sees the sea from the balcony, expressing her wish, except that there will be a difference in what she wishes for and what she gets. Imagining these things she utters. He would swim, I thought, and call out to me in lazy and friendly way, and I would respond with a wave and a smile. But all this was in future, possibly if it at all. If at all, and at present we were not friends, not acquaintance even, but only a husband and wife. It was night, and he asked her to change into her night dress. She changes, feeling glad that her night dress was simple. However, escaping his sexual overtures seemed difficult now. Okay, wait. I will do here a little thing.
Willingly I turned went to him, my legs as heavy as lead. And suddenly his arms were round me, his face close to mine, his rough chin scraping, hurting in cheeks. His embrace was too sudden, too rough, and I wanted to scream, to cry out. But somehow I knew that this was just between the two of us. I turned my face away from him, trying to escape, so that the kiss he intended for my lips landed in the air. He let me go abruptly. There was a foolish, angry look on his face. Opening square bracket ellipsis closing square bracket. What's this? Why are you behaving like this?
Okay,
Despite her stammering to him that they hardly know each other, her husband only protested that it had nothing to with their sexual act.
To him, my legs
The final act of
heavy as
violation
lead,
and the moment of her sense of
and
wounded escape, so that the kiss he intended for my lips landed, was a foolish, angry look on his face.